So to just go over what exactly is going to be covered in this session, right? So we're going to really go through what you can do in order to improve your communication skills, your public speaking skills, and really get out there, right? Nilushan, can we go to the next slide? Great. Okay. So I have 5 steps for you to like sort of follow, right? First thing is to become a great public speaker, you have to start somewhere, right? First, start by talking about things that you actually enjoy, that you're comfortable with. And that's exactly why when you're a Toastmaster, your first project will always be, the icebreaker project will always be talking about yourself, because you know yourself the best and the most, and it's easier for you to talk about it. So start with things that are easy. And then later on, get into things that you actually want to research and talk about, and then educate somebody else. The next thing that you can do is when you are going to talk to somebody or you're talking to a target audience, you can go about it in two ways, right? You can either talk to them about something that relates to them or their background. For example, now if I was going to talk to a bunch of you, right? Let's say I can talk about something technical and I can totally relate to you guys, right? And I can really engage in a conversation. Or I can talk about something that can educate you, right? So we can, so I can probably talk about something related to, let's say, medicine or like healthcare or whatever it is, right? Or business itself, right? So that is also an approach that you can take. So you have to figure out how you're really going to approach your target audience and what you're comfortable with first, and then you can push your boundaries, which is going to lead us to our next point, right? Pushing your boundaries. Now, this is so important because some of us sometimes, and guilty as charged, right? We get so comfortable with being in this bubble that we forget to really push our boundaries. We have to make ourselves uncomfortable and talk about things that may not be in the total norm, but in a respectful way, we can really educate one another, right? How we can do this is, and let me tell you this really fun example. So back when I was in uni, I was a part of my Toastmasters club, and I spoke about something called taboo topics, right? And I'm not going to mention it right now what exactly I spoke about, but it was an uncomfortable topic for me to talk about, and it was an uncomfortable topic for everybody else to hear about, right? But either way, at the end of that session, not only was everybody else comfortable enough to sort of address these same issues that we had, because they were really serious issues that I was talking about, right? But it really opened up a door for others to really talk about some serious issues as well, right? So push your boundaries, talk about or research on things that make you feel uncomfortable, something that you won't necessarily be confident enough to talk about. That's where confidence comes into place. Your confidence comes from preparation, research, and really prepping yourself to be the best possible public speaker that you can possibly be, right? And this is where it brings us to impromptu speeches also. So impromptu speeches are generally, for the longest time, I struggled with it, and I still do, right? And I totally relate to anybody that has, issues with, impromptu speeches or conversations, right? Because I'm generally a prepping person, and I like to be prepared for what I'm going to go get into. But the thing with impromptu speeches is it really tests you. It tests you to an extent where you can talk about anything, and where you can have these little sort of memory capsules in your head where you store your little research, or like you might have come across something, right? For example, I have been trying to get one point that I learned. Like, did you know that there was a man that tried to sell New Zealand on eBay? Now, I've really tried to bring this up in a conversation, and the other day I actually could, right? And that really became a topic of discussion. And then we went to the conversation turned to an e-commerce conversation and whatnot. And that's what impromptu conversations can really do for you, or so speeches can really do for you. The research and the effort that you put into this really has to come from yourself, right? And that is the sort of extra effort that you need to put into. Because at the end of the day, these impromptu speeches and conversations are not only going to help you in your day-to-day life, but in your career and your professional life as well. When you go for your interviews and when you go for any kind of sessions or talks, there's only so much that you can sort of anticipate, right? For example, if you go for an interview, they will ask you questions like, oh, tell me a little bit about yourself. Now, you know they're going to ask you about that question, right? You can almost 80% of the time, you can sort of predict and anticipate what they're going to ask you, and you can prep your answer for it. But there will be those one ad hoc questions that you might not have even thought about, they're going to ask. How are you going to answer them? Are you going to be stuck for words? No, you're not going to be, because before you go for that, you're going to be this amazing public speaker, right? Practice makes perfect. And this is something I know that everybody that has spoken in this session has probably iterated so many times, but it really does, right? Because I had two things that I wanted to really bring out in this topic itself, right? How speeches come into play is that you prep your speech and then you talk about it, right? But what the key for a good speech is your language itself. Now, you don't have to be 100% at something to try it out, right? You don't have to be really good at it to start somewhere, right? Which is why language, even when it comes, let's say English, and you're talking in English and you want to really get somewhere someday, start with what you know, speak with confidence, and then you can that will really help you get forth, right? So once you start speaking, once you start really getting yourself out there, that is when language itself will improve, right? You will hear other people also speaking, then you will tell yourself, oh, I need to correct this, I need to correct that, right? That's where it comes into place, right? And something that also has been spoken about a lot during this session is confidence, right? Self-confidence. Now, self-confidence is something me or the other team members or your parents, nobody can teach you this, right? This has to really come from within you. It has to come from self-esteem and how you look at yourself, and especially how you look at yourself as a person and as a professional, right? So when you are in a setting where you have to be a specific sort of way, or like a professional itself, be unapologetically yourself. That is the key to everything. That's where confidence really stems from, right? And then comes language, and then once you have that also in place, then you can really go into your impromptu conversations and speeches, role playing, like for example, like you can take part in your table topic sessions. All of these things, all this practice that you put into it will make you the best possible public speaker that you can be. And I'm going to hand over this session now to Nilushan, who will talk about the next topic. So hold on to your seats.
Thank you, Fatima. Now, most of you who joined this session would have wanted to know how you can improve your public speaking and communication skills. If you take all the speakers that conducted this session today, we are all from the WSO2 Toastmasters Club. We always participate in Toastmasters meetings and we do speeches during these meetings. So let me tell you how Gavel or Toastmasters clubs can help you to improve your public speaking or your communication skills. Now, when it comes to presentations, you will definitely have to do presentations somewhere in your life. It may be during your university life or when you start working somewhere. So when you do these presentations, most of the time you don't get to practice with this audience, because let's say you're doing a group project presentation. If you don't do the presentation properly, your examiner won't understand what you contributed to the group project. So it's better to have somewhere where you can practice, make mistakes, and learn from them. Now in Gavel Club and Toastmaster Club meetings, you have prepared speeches. You decide on a topic, you know the time limits, and you prepare in advance for that speech. Then you go for a meeting and then you present your speech. Thereafter, you will get an evaluation. It doesn't matter if you make a mistake, you will still be told where you excelled in and what points that were there that you could do to improve. Now, when it comes to presentations, you could be prepared to some extent. But when it comes to impromptu discussions, you cannot be prepared. You will have to face impromptu discussions in the forms of vivas, meetings, code reviews, or networking with peers at your workplace. Although you can't be prepared for that particular discussion, you can improve your impromptu discussion skills. To do that, Toastmasters or Gavel Club meetings have two types of sessions. These are called round robin sessions or table topic sessions. Now, during these sessions, you aren't prepared for a speech. You get your topic at that point and you learn how to speak. Now, the other thing is that you can make mistakes in these meetings. See, in a Gavel Club or a Toastmasters Club meeting, let's say you start an impromptu speech, which is for 2 minutes. If you get stuck after 1 minute, if you don't know what to say, that's all right. No one will laugh at you. If you make a mistake during your presentation, if you show your anxiety to your audience, no one will laugh at you. They will, at the end of your presentation or your speech, tell you what you can do to improve yourself. So you have a good learning environment where you can make mistakes and learn from them. That's what's important. And another misconception that that some people have is that if you are to join a Gavel Club or a Toastmasters Club, you need to be very good communicators because that's where you deliver good speeches. No, that's not the case. Toastmasters and Gavel Clubs are places where you go to improve your communication skills, where you go to improve your public speaking skills. So you don't have to be good communicators. You don't even have to have delivered any public speeches in your life. You can go there and start from these meetings. And if you're still not sure whether this suits you, that's all right. You can join one of these meetings as a guest. You go to one of these meetings and you listen to what other people are doing. You listen to other speeches. And if you want to speak up, you can. But if you don't want to, that's all right. You can just go there as a guest and see what's going on. But trust me, you will want to join these meetings on a continuous basis frequently because you will understand that it actually helps you to improve your public speaking skills.